Hi everyone, I'm Jenny from Orchid Nature. Okay, so this is part 2 of how to propagate an orchid, an oncidium type orchid or any other type of orchid that produces pseudobulbs. Last time we discussed about how to divide an orchid to get 2 mature plants. Now today we're going to discuss about how to propagate orchids through backbulbs. This is another method. It's quite different than the first one, but it does produce results. Okay, first let's learn what is a backbulb. If you look at your orchid, you will notice it's made up of a net of pseudobulbs. A backbulb is actually an old pseudobulb that will not bloom again. It does serve as water and nutrient deposit, but other than that, it will not produce new roots anymore. It will not produce flower spikes. It's just kept as a backup plan. Now this is the bulb you're looking for. And to find it, you need to look at your orchid and see where the new growths are. If you can see here, I have a new growth here, and this growth seems to be sprouting from this growth. And this growth seems to be sprouting from this one. And so on. If I look at the system, I find that this bulb is the oldest pseudobulb on my orchid. Now this is the bulb I'm interested in. I will have to try to split this pseudobulb from the entire orchid, and if I can do so and keep some of its roots, it's even better. Now this particular pseudobulb is a bit tricky, and I advise you not to choose this one if you actually need it, just because it appears to have 2 patterns of growth. It has this pseudobulb here and also this pseudobulb here. If I remove this bulb, this section of the orchid will get detached from the whole orchid. But usually you can find a pseudobulb that only has one direction of growth. So because I do have 2 more sections of this plant, I will also have this section. I will demonstrate this for you, even though I will lose this section of the plant, just to see how it works and what you need to do. But if you find a pseudobulb that has 2 directions of growth and actually separates the orchid, unless you want to do this and separate this part of the orchid, don't choose this pseudobulb. Choose another one that doesn't have 2 directions. But as I told you, for the sake of this video, I will go ahead and choose this pseudobulb. Now because it doesn't want to separate on its own, I'll have to use something sharp to cut it. So I got myself a knife, and what I want to do is cut the connection between my pseudobulb and the next pseudobulb in front of it. So I will have to just gently split the orchid so I see where I need to cut, and then just cut the section. And there you go, your backbulb is cut. Now, as I told you, this particular bulb had another direction of growth, which is this one. And this can actually be considered a division. But if you didn't have this particular growth pattern in these pseudobulbs, you would only be left with one pseudobulb. After you have the backbulb, you can pot it separately in its own media and its own pot. And if you're lucky, soon enough, you'll have a small little plantlet shooting up from the old pseudobulb, which will produce roots and grow to be an orchid of itself. And if you manage to separate 2 backbulbs, you'll also have a brand new orchid and brand new shoots sprouting from the backbulbs. Now the only thing with this method is that you really need to be very patient with your orchid, because a backbulb does not mean you have a mature orchid, even though it came from a mature plant. Now the new growth that will sprout, most probably it will be smaller, it will be more fragile, and you have to wait a bit until that new growth matures and then starts to put out a new growth of its own, and eventually they will get bigger and bigger as they grow. So you are actually setting the orchid back just a little bit. But this method is usually used when you have a very rare orchid, or a friend of yours has a very rare orchid that you simply cannot find and you want, and you can ask them to just spare you one of their backbulbs. And if you're patient, you'll have a mature orchid in some time. Now I have to issue a little warning with this. I've been looking for orchids on eBay for a while now, and some sellers sell you backbulbs that have little shoots sprouted, and they advertise it as being mature plants. Now I find this to be a little misleading, at least in my experience. They never grow, the first shoot never grows as mature as to produce a flower spike. I might be wrong, but in all of my cases, the new growths were pretty small, and it's pretty logical because there's only one bulb to support its growth. The orchid has to work a little bit more to feed itself, and yeah, I think you're actually setting up the orchid just a bit. But if you just have patience, you can improve your collection like this, and I will share with you a link in the description with a blog of an orchid lover who has quite a nice looking orchid collection that was grown only from Backbulbs. So if you're interested in this, please visit the description and you'll get even more information on how to care for these Backbulbs, because they're a little bit more fragile than a division. And also keep in mind, if you see on eBay or on stores orchids Backbulbs that are sold as mature plants or blooming size plants, don't take their word for it. I find it misleading. Keep in mind, you need to have patience. It does work, it does pay off in some cases, not all the cases, but you know, just take it as it is and know exactly what it is before you think that if you get a Backbulb, you'll have a beautiful flower within a few months. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this, hope you found it useful. Don't forget we have an orchid giveaway, and I'll share the link to that in the description. You can enter and you can actually win a discount voucher. This is only for the USA, so if you're interested, check the description. Hopefully there is still time for you to enter. And if you want to see other videos from me, just subscribe to my channel so you'll stay up to date. If you have questions or suggestions for me, pop them in a comment and I will try to do a video for you. And visit orchidnature.com for our whole community, and you can share your photos and orchid stories with us. Okay, thank you again for watching. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!